Hi conductors, welcome to the Jardin du Cirque, the circus garden. Breaking Ground is a series where I give you a peek behind the curtain at what it's like to start a lore-driven amigurumi endeavor. I have built this entire world of a retired ringleader and these magical bees, and it's just centered on honey, mischief, and stitches. So there are 5 stages for the series. We are on the second of the 5, and this is the root stage. So we're going to graduate from this stage once 3 to 5 goals are completed. Our goals for the root stage are launch a YouTube. We did it. We're here. Get Etsy established, apply for my first market, prep for that market, and then finish my founder bees. So I did not make a ton of forward progress this week, but we made some lateral progress. So what we're going to do today is do the Pollen Basket, aka everything I did this week, the Ringmaster's Rounds, which is basically a process journal, and then the Groundskeeper's journal, which is looking at how are we going to accomplish our goals in this upcoming week. So let's get into it. The Pollen Basket. So it was a very rainy week here, and I am solar powered. So we followed the spark that I did have. In my heart of hearts, I will always be an academic first. So I read a lot, I watched a lot of lectures, I watched a lot of circus performances from Barnum and Bailey to some modern circuses. I watched a lecture series from the Ringleader Museum in Sarasota, Florida that focused on women in circus. Phenomenal. So cool. I'm definitely going to be several Instagram carousels as well as the backing for my stitch markers and getting my first pattern designed and situated. Several Ringleader's rounds. Process journal. I didn't craft as much as I would have hoped, but I did finish the second flora and I found a nicer finish, which is forward progress, even if it's a little bit. Here's our first gal. And see how there's just a little bit of a bunching up there. Don't love it. And so with this one, I staggered the decreases, which helped a lot. She used smaller. I clearly had very stressed hands this week, but that is okay. Tension is one of the most important parts of crochet, but also one of the most elusive. So just is what it is. Name of the game. That is showbiz, baby. Since I didn't craft a lot, we're gonna walk through my thought process as I was gathering information. Like I said, I am always going to be an academic first. And so as such, I do have to give the disclaimer that I am painting with super broad strokes to illustrate my thought process. There's always nuance. She doesn't live here right now, and that is okay. I find that human experiences / human nature they can cross time, space, culture. The articulation of those experiences are determined by those factors, by the time period, by the culture, even like the space of the experience. But the actual experience itself, that I think is probably about the same. Thinking about the circus, so for an average person, seeing an elephant in the Colosseum in Rome in late BCE, early AD, more than likely brought up feelings of awe, fear, curiosity, right? how different is that really from an average person seeing Jumbo the elephant in like the late 1890s, early 1900s in like South Carolina, right? Like how different is that truly? I think the articulations of that fear and awe are different languages, different turns of phrase, different body language, different concepts of the way that fear culturally permeates us, through us, right? This is to say, whenever I read and gather information in a wide net, I'm tracing the threads in this metaphorical tapestry to see where they might connect. If this was a research project, my core question would be, what is the relationship between gardens and circuses, and how do these environments set the stage for the behaviors that happen inside of them? The Groundskeeper's Chronicle. As a recovering perfectionist, this experience is character growth on steroids. Like I said in episode 1, this is a very now or never time in my life, and I'm just gonna have to jump and pivot in real time, which is so scary. However, the individual stakes of the things that I'm doing are not that high. It's everything behind it that feels very high stakes. Which is to say, I am working through the Etsy situation and the market prep. I fell into the emotional pit trap of, oh, everyone's doing it, or Etsy kind of sucks now. 1, no one is doing what I'm doing. There's room for everybody. 2, most websites kind of suck right now. That's just the reality of the internet, unfortunately. The worst case scenario is that I'm out about $20 and maybe 6 to 10 hours of my time max. The best case scenario is that I make good income from setting this up and it is worth my time and my $20 investment. Same thing with markets. I'm filming my tutorial this week. I'm getting the pattern articulated. I'm also getting the inserts for the kits. I'm trying to design those this week. Once again, if my first tutorial isn't great, I can just refilm it based on people's comments. If I have to change my packaging a few times, that's super normal for a new business. Like, it's okay to be scared, but what is the smallest building block in front of you? And can you do that thing? Thank you for being here, and may all your days be garden days. As always, do the fun YouTube stuff of liking and subscribing, and I will see you next Sunday, friends. Cheers.